We're on page 6 and we have 2 pre-cuts. And welcome back, by the way, to part 3. We cut a 3" by 10 1/8 inch. There is no scoring. We called that a side pocket. And we had a 5½ by 8½, and we called that a folder. We laid this on our scoring board, so we were 8½ inches across. At 4 1/4 we scored, and we called that a folder. In your paper pack you will find another purple striped on the back. It looks like this. Let's take off that trim piece. And we will flip it over, and I think for this one what we're going to do is we are going to turn it this way. And we will measure over 9 1/8 inch and cut. So this is what you should have so far. We're going to measure over 9 1/8 inch and cut. We're going to flip that over. Let's begin with our side pocket. And by the way, we're going to be getting some lace on this as well as the previous page that I thought would look really cute. And we'll get to that in just a moment. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch score tape, and on the right side here, I'm just going to lay it. And this is a wraparound style pocket. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it this way because it's easier for me without getting my head in the video. Otherwise I'm going to be leaning over my page and you're not going to be able to see much. Okay, I'm going to have a little bend, and I'm going to make sure I have white equal overhang on each side. Bring it all the way there. Press in the middle and out. So that is what you should have. We will flip that over, and we're going to tack down our flaps to the back. Very easy. So in your reserves you will find this long 12 inches, I believe, yep, piece, and it is about 2 7/8 inch this way. On the back it is this. So I have some of the little scroll work up here going down the side, and I am going to flip it around to where it's on this side, as you can see. And I am just going to measure to fit on this. Very simple. Placing it down. And I'm going to cut. Next, we're going to glue that down. This is a very quick, easy page. One that you can stick picture mats into the side pocket, as well as just gluing down some photos here. Very easy picture placement. And you'll have a little bit of a white ledge there, so it's easy to see that it's a pocket. And it divides it up nicely. Okay, I'm going to stick that off to the side there. Next thing that we want to get after is our 5½ by 8½ folder. And we're just going to fold on that score line. And I'm going to have my writing towards the back because my opening is actually going to be on the left. In your reserves you will find this. On the back it is the pink. This is about 6 3/8 wide by, looks like about 6 inches this way. So all I'm going to do first thing is I'm going to cut off the trim And then I'm going to divide this because what I want is this panel here. And I'll show you what mine looks like. Now if you cut yours wrong, because I went down this way first rather than across, shame on me, it's not going to make much difference. So if you were to place this down, it should give you a nice white clean border around it. And we'll place that. Okay. Let's open that up and get a couple magnets out. Does not matter if you start with the plus or the minus. But I'm going to move in probably about an inch or so in the middle there. I'm going to place the mate on top, which is odd because one said minus, one said it should flip, but it doesn't. So I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to place a dot of glue in the middle, and I'm going to bring it over, press, and what's going to happen is going to show me where that magnet is. It's supposed to go. I can see it, the circle there. So if you have to do that with yours, if you don't have adhesive on yours, or if yours is not correct on the plus and minuses, that's how you do it. Alright, let's get our cardstock. In your reserves you will find this print. On the back it's the beautiful turquoise color. I'm going to flip this. Oh, which way do I want to go with this? I think I'm going to go like this. I'm going to get better pieces out of here. But I'm going to measure over 4 inches and cut. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is measure over 5 1/4 inches and cut. Measure over again 5 1/4 inches and cut. This is what you should have. All we're going to do is apply glue to both of these, and it will fit nicely in there, giving you a frame. And it will cover up your magnets when doing it, placing your glue and then putting it down. So I'm going to put glue on this in case I have to maneuver on there. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we are going to glue this down, and if you'd like to do it at an angle you can, or you can just kind of put it like this. So we're going to make sure that we do not put any glue back behind here, so it might be wise to stick a piece of scrap cardstock in your pocket. Okay, so for me, I'm just going to put a little line lightly here, and I'm going to leave some of the pocket color here, so I'm in about 1/4 inch. And I'll just put a mark there. So that tells me where I need to get my glue. And again, our opening is there. And it doesn't look like I can see the other pencil lines. So now I'm going to carefully open this because it's not completely dry. Wipe up any glue that squirted out and burnish. And that'll look pretty good there. Okay, lace. I am using lace, and I'm going to be using this one. And I'm just going to glue that down, and I'm going to leave these to where they are not glued down. So let's get out our glue. I'm using the fabric tack. Now I've already cut, I thought I did, another piece for the other side, and I will show you that once we get into our book. This is so cute. Which one? I tell you, this paper is so amazing that it's hard for me to decide what I want to use. What do I want? This. So I'm just going to cut this out, and then I'll clean it up. Now on this particular one, I am going to back with white cardstock so it does not get lost because of the green, and it's a light pastel. Circles are always hard for me. Oh, that is good enough because I'm going to have a bow up there. Put that right there. Okay, let's make a small bow with our ribbon. Oh boy, that's too much. That looks pretty good. This page is complete. We're going to flip it over. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame. One down the middle, one on either side, and let's place this in our book. All right, I have this. I have the score tape backing off from behind, and I'm going to place this. The other lace needs to go here, and when you place the lace, and what did I do with mine? I thought I cut a piece. It's probably right here. It is right in front of my face. We're going to glue that down right there so it matches up. Just make sure you do not interfere with your fold out mechanism there. And I need to burnish my page down. I do know that. And again, I'm not going to glue these down in case I'd like to slip part of a photo underneath there. Okay, I'm going to let that dry, but this is what it's going to look like. Very pretty. Alrighty. Page 6 is complete. We are now on to page 7. We're going to go over our pre-cuts for page 7. The first pre-cut that we had was a 3.5 by 9 5/8. We called it a right pocket. We laid this on our scoring board. We were 9 5/8 across. We scored it at a 1/2 inch. We turned it so that we were 3.5 inches across, and we scored it at a 1/2 inch. We had another pre-cut that was 3 5/8 by 9 3/4. We called it a left pocket. And what we did was we laid this on our scoring board so we were 3 5/8 inch across. We scored it a 1/2 inch and 5/8 inch. We turned that and we scored at 9 1/8 and 9 1/4. We called that our left pocket. We had was a 6 1/8 by 12 inch, the folder. We laid this on our scoring board. We were 12 inches across, and we scored at 6 inch. The last two things I had on there was for your solid colored yellow, pink, or blue, whatever you were deciding to use in this album. And we just cut two pieces that were 5 3/4 by 5 7/8. That's it. Let's get started. In your paper pack, you will find the stars page. On the back, it is this. Let's take off that trim piece. All right. We are going to look at it like this. We're going to measure over 9 1/8 inch and cut. Okay, let's turn that, measure over 9 1/8 inch and cut. This is what you should have. We're going to start with our right pocket. And we have a score line here and here. And we're going to cut out that little square. And we're going to fold on those score lines. So once we fold on the score lines, what we're going to do is, again, here is your flap and here's down here. Grab your ruler. Now you will see where your score line is. You're going to put this up to that point because you're going to leave the flap alone over here. But just to the corner there, and then you're going to come down to the corner where the score line meets. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to bring this up a little more. So where I'm placing this is right here. Here's my corner. I'm going to leave the flap alone. And down here, here is the flap underneath. And I'm going to come to the corner over here. And then what we're going to do is draw with our pencil. What we want to do at this point is we're going to put this on our paper cutter and we are going to cut it like that. And I'm going to grab my paper cutter really quick. Oop, there's my stuff. The flap you're going to leave alone, and my blade is right here. So I'm just going to try to line that line up with my blade over here as best I can. And I think right about there. And I'm going to cut so that it's diagonal. Before I place this piece, I'm going to just erase up in there. This part will get covered. Okay, we're going to hook this on. Flap here, flap here. So that's the flap's going to go behind, and this is going to come over. Just kind of fit it around to where it fits. All right, so we're just going to glue that down. And I will show you a little trick on something like this on how to get your decorative paper to fit correctly after you've made those cuts on diagonal. Usually we make it on our decorative paper like we did with the envelope and stuff, but for this one we'll be doing it after the fact. So that's all we did there. And I'm going to set that off to the side. The next one is our left pocket. And down here you have an inside score line. We're going to clip all the way up to that top score line. And then we're going to cut over and get that out. Let's fold on those score lines. Okay, so we have that done. We need to do the same thing with our ruler as what we did before, corner to corner. So if it helps so you're not confused, what you can do is on that inside score line over here, you can just pinch that, put it all the way back behind. The bottom one, you see a bottom score line and a top one. On the top one, you can just pinch. So all you see is what you need to see. But just make sure your flap is located on the left and the flap is at the bottom when we do this. We're going to go corner to corner. So up here to here. So what that looks like when you pull it out is this. I'm going to get this on my paper cutter and line that up so it's a straight line. I think that's about good. And up through here I'm just going to erase. let's grab our piece. Now this gets attached similar to when we did the space pocket. So flap over here, flap down here. On that very bottom score line, we're going to pinch and crease. So you'll still be able to see the other score line. We're going to wrap that back behind. But before we do anything, we want to make sure that this is able still to wrap behind. And once you have that where you need it, we're just going to turn it over and glue this flap down. Now I can see some pencil marks still on my white cardstock, so I'm going to erase that really quickly. Okay, before we can wrap our side flaps, we have to push down on that other score line so that it feels flat on the bottom. Okay, so I have it flat. This wraps behind, and we will tack that down. So that is what you should have. All right, let's get ready to get our paper. In your reserves, you will find this piece. On the back, it is the purple. What we're looking for is this. So what I'm going to do is put this on my paper cutter and cut to divide these two pieces. All right, so here is the trick on getting this cut to fit, because this one is going to be here. We're going to slide that in the pocket all the way down until it is straight in there, just like that. We're next going to take our pencil, and from over here we're just going to draw straight down until it hits the middle. Okay? If you'd like at this point, you can just use that line to continue your little thing. So that's what you should have. I'm going to cut that on my paper cutter really quick. And that's what I have. This should fit right on in there, and it should give you a little white lip. Let's glue that down. Just slide that right on in, line it up so it's straight. That looks good. And we will burnish. Okay, let's get for this side. In your reserves, you will find the polka dots. On the other side, it is this. Measure over 9 1/8 inch and cut. Okay, next you will notice that this is going to be the perfect, it's already done for us as far as the tallness. We're going to slide it right back behind all the way over, and it should look like this. Just make sure you're all the way over in the corner there, and we are going to draw. We're going to stick this on our paper cutter, and we're going to cut that. And I'm going to look to see how it fits. I still have my white line, and I'm going to glue that down. Quite easy. All right, in your reserves, you will find this piece on the back. It is this. Let's get some pieces out of there. And you know I'm going for the elephant. I love that. That's my favorite, the elephant. We're going to cut him out. And I'm just going to stick that off to the side. Let's cut out and around the elephant. And then what we're going to do is glue it on to white cardstock and cut out and around that. I've got my elephant cut out and backed. Let's grab a couple more animals. So down here, I'm going to cut straight across. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to grab the deer, and I'm going to grab a lamb. These guys I'll set off to the side. I'm going to do the same thing with these. I'm going to cut out and around, and I'm going to glue them down to white cardstock, and then I'll cut around that. I've got all mine cut out, and I'm going to start with the elephant, and he's just going to go right here. And then I'll glue down the lamb. Now, one thing with the lamb, be very careful. Put something in that pocket there, because you're only going to glue a little part of him. I almost just made a mistake. We'll just put him here. And we'll put him here. And I think that looks really cute. All right, let's set this off to the side. Let's grab our folder, and we're going to fold on that. I am going to erase this now so I don't have writing on my thing. In your paper pack, you will find this print on the back. It is pink. Let's take off that trim piece. Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to divide up this trim piece off here. So let's start there. I may do something with this. We'll just put that in our reserves. The next thing we want to do is cut to divide this side from this side. So this is what we're going to be working with. We're just going to divide this. Alright, one thing you're going to notice is that this is going to be slightly wider than this, but it should fit top and bottom. So if you were to lay it down, you will see how much it is going to hang over. So at that, what we're going to do is we're going to move this until it is centered side to side, and it will fit exactly on the panel. But we want a little bit of white border since we have it top and bottom. So I am going to make 2 marks. I'm going to come in about a 1/16 or so here and over here, and I'm going to trim. And I'll see how that looks. If I can get my white border, that looks like it did the job. Again, our opening, actually, let's have our opening off to the right like a book. We're just going to glue that down. So opening there. And this is all this is a little folder. So you can stick your photos in. There's no magnet on this. There we go. We're going to open that up, and we had cut 2 panels. Now you're going to be longer, slightly longer one way than the other. One's going to be 5 3/4 and one's going to be 5 7/8. So you're just going to have to look to see where you're at. What you're looking for, you're going to be about 5 3/4 inch this way, and then that will give you a white border and you won't be on your score line. So check to see which way you need to be and double check before placing it. So double checking, that's going to fit. And I'm going to just try to match it up with where I put it over here. Alright, we have a little raccoon, and we're going to get him off this. And I'm just going to cut out and around him. Okay, I am not going to back him. I am just going to place him right here. That is cute. And into the pocket it goes. Now one thing you may notice is that you can also tuck up front, so you'll get a dimensional if you wanted. All right, our page is complete. We can flip it over. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame. One down the middle, one on either side, and we will place this in our book. All right, I have my book. It's looking pretty good, guys. Very good. All right. If you'd like to take this out, you can. I'm going to leave mine in there to ensure I get my spacing over here. And I'm going to stay at least 1/8 of an inch away. Good. And burnish. Now you may hear some big trucks out front, some noise in the background. I'm trying to get this done, but they're working on my road again. And matter of fact, my road is shut down, closed out in front of my house. But that looks adorable. We are on our final page, page 8. Oh, really quick. Before we do anything, there is something I wanted to add to this. Before we move on to page 8, cut a piece of lace, and I am using this one. It's the same one we used to wrap around the edges here, or whatever you use. You don't have to use the same, but I wanted to glue that down, and these little guys, the scallops, are going to lay over these scallops. I wanted to just add a little extra to this. I just felt I needed it. And I'm going to let that dry. Let's move on to page 8. We're on page 8. There are no pre-cuts. This is just an open page to place your baby photos. In your paper pack, you'll find this. On the back, it is this. Let's take off that trim piece. First thing we're going to do is turn it sideways, measure over 9 1/8 inch, and cut. Next, we'll measure over 9 1/8 inch and cut. That is adorable. Let's flip it over. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on either side, and we'll plant this in our book together. Alrighty, I'm going to get back to the very last page. I have the score tape off the back. Now be mindful of your hinge there. You're going to move in and you're going to try and line it up with that one. I may be down just a little too far, but that's okay. So these pages are not too heavy, so I am not going to worry about reinforcing the hinges here. That looks good. Now, one thing is, you know, with new moms, when they're placing photos, they don't want, I mean, some of them that have never seen mini albums before, they want some easy picture placement. So making these folders are a good idea because they can just put a photo in there. They can always journal, put a couple photos in there. And they can just place their photos right down on the page here. Over here, this is real easy for them. They just take out the mat and place their photos. Here, on this fold out, same thing. They can just plant photos. They can stick things back behind. They've got pockets. Not a difficult thing. Our album is complete. Now for picture mats, we don't do those together, but I do have a video and you can do a YouTube search and all you need to do is picture mats, Shelly Geigel, and there's one that will pop up to give you some inspiration and different ideas of how you can, if you really want to decorate up your picture mats or if you just want to do it plain. So you might want to check that out. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was so much fun to work with this paper. It was very hard for me to decide on pages because it's so darn cute. So I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something, and I will see you soon on my next mini album tutorial. Happy crafting, everybody!